Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter Show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we're going to talk about it right here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Joe Habib, and we got a great show for you today. And if you want to call in and ask questions, 323-870-3857. And today, we're going to talk about Canelo Alvarez getting a 2-fight deal with Matchroom. Maybe. We'll give you all the details, and it's worth a lot of money. A lot. Jamal Charlo, Beeb, your boy, is in trouble again. We'll tell you all about it. We'll have to break it down for you. He did it again, man. What are you going to do? You can't stay out of trouble. I told you. I tried to tell you. Hey, did I mention
people when they're down? You don't kick people when they're down.
You just got out
You
of
don't
jail.
do that here. We don't do that here.
Hey, did I mention the Bengals were in the Superbowl today? Did I mention that?
Well, the Patriots we're so sick of winning over here that, gotta let someone else win for a change.
Well, I appreciate that. We appreciate that over here. That's for sure. All right, let's get started with DAZN, man. John Ryder and Danny Jacobs in a WBA eliminator, whatever that means, because neither one of these guys are going to get a shot at any, Canelo or anybody else, John Ryder won a split decision over Danny Jacobs by the scores of 115-113 twice and 115-113 for Jacobs. This was, listen, man, this was a good fight. I had Jacobs winning the first 6 rounds pretty easy, and it's like a switch turned on in that 7th round. Ryder started coming on in the middle rounds, and I think he hurt Jacobs a couple of times because it's almost like Jacobs just stopped fighting. I don't know what happened to him. I don't think he got tired, but something definitely happened. Either an adjustment was made or something, man. But Ryder had a lot of success from the rounds, from I guess about 7 to 10. Jacobs seemed to find his footing in the last 2 rounds. I gave Ryder the 11th, but I gave Jacobs the 12th, and I ended up having a fight scored 115-113 for Jacobs. After the fight, of course, John Ryder called out Canelo, which is a fight he'll never get. Beeb, I want to ask you a question here. What did Ryder do specifically in that 7th round? Now, I know they got in that exchange or whatever. I don't know that was the case where it hurt him. All of those rounds after subsequently. What happened in the 7th round? Why did that tide turn for John Ryder?
A couple things were happening even before the 7th round. In the first 2 rounds, Jacobs definitely had his range well established, and Ryder had a hard time, getting inside for those first 2 rounds. But he started getting closer in round 3. But Jacobs was doing a good job tying him up. And as Paulie Malignaggi likes to say, he was accepting the clinch. But in the 4th round, Jacobs, was still doing well, but Ryder started fighting out of the clinches a little bit, right? Wasn't really putting the shots together. Then the 5th round, as he was pulling out of the clinches, because Jacobs would wrap his arms and he would just wait for the ref to break. But in the 5th round, he started pulling his arms out and started moving his hands up close, going to the body. Now, in that 7th round, Jacobs got hit with the right hook, and his legs buckled, and he did the chicken dance a little bit. He had some spaghetti legs. And then after that, Ryder landed two short looping left hands, right? And the right hook was what started it. And that's the punch, I think, that really hurt Jacobs. But then he got hit with those 2 left hands. So I think he got hurt in that round. And after that round, he was like a little bit discouraged and surprised. And, if you go back and watch the Gabe Rosado fight, in a fight that I thought Jacobs lost 115 and 113, he faded late in that fight. And Gabe hit him with a big right hand, I think in the 5th or 6th round. And that turned that fight as well. So I'm not sure if this is a mental thing with Jacobs or if his punch resistance is starting to waver a little bit as he's gotten older, because that's one of the first things that goes is your punch resistance, because you don't have that ability to utilize your oxygen as well as you did when you were younger, and your oxygen helps you recover. Obviously, conditioning is a big part of recovery in a fight, being in shape, right? So John Ryder, like I said, was not accepting the clinch, started pulling his hands out. And a beautiful thing that John Ryder does, because he applies that steady pressure, right? And after a while, having to fight a guy off that's continuously coming at you it's gonna wear on you a little bit, right? John Ryder is really good at changing levels. If you notice, he has a really strong, tight defensive construct, tucks the chin, gets low, really pushes hard off that back foot. So when he's coming forward, it's hard to stop that momentum, because he takes the shot well, because he's really fighting out of a compact, tight structure. So it's hard to knock him off kilter when he's coming forward. But he changes levels so well. He already does bend his knees and he makes himself a combat target. But he throws punches like he'll dip and then throw a body shot, and then he'll pop up and come up top to the head. He's constantly changing the level of his head. So if you're trying to jab this guy as he's coming forward, he's forcing you to constantly have to change the level of weight in which you're going to hit your jab to stop him from coming forward, right? So that's number one. He's really great at changing levels. So it's hard to pin him down and stop him and measure him with that jab as he's coming forward to try to keep him outside. Number two, another great thing that he does is, he mixes up the shots. Another adjustment that he made was he was trying to throw the shots down the middle, right? So up close, when Jacobs was grabbing him and he would pull his arms out, he started throwing the uppercuts and coming up underneath Jacobs, right? Instead of trying to go straight, right? So he's coming up underneath Jacobs and he was digging to the body. So that was an adjustment he made. But again, the big thing with Ryder is constantly changes the levels. And Jacobs, his game is on the outside. He's an outboxer, and he's a pretty decent counterpuncher, but he's an outboxer. He likes to fight from the outside. He did some decent work on the inside, but for the most part, he wants to freeze the action and hold you, right? And he wants to push you out or let the referee break you, push you apart. He wants to reset on the outside again. But like I said, Ryder made the adjustment by coming up underneath with uppercuts and ripping body shots from up and underneath. And again, the constant changing of levels. But in that seventh round, that right hook did stun Jacobs, and it turned the fight, because after that, he kind of froze for a bit, and then Ryder was able to throw those two short looping left hands. And after that, Jacobs had a worried look on his face, like, oh, what the fuck? This guy can actually hurt me.
Get me out of here. Yeah.
This guy can hurt me, right? So this is something I got to worry about. And here's another thing too. When you look at guys, Jacobs, faster feet, faster hands, much more athletically gifted guy.
For sure.
But goes back to what I said before. I always use this example. When you have that fastball pitcher, how do you hit him? Well, he's not going to get slower. You just have to be able to anticipate, his windup.
Yeah, that's a good point.
When he's going through that windup, at what point during the extension of his arm is that ball being released? And another thing Ryder did was he started anticipating the timing of Jacobs' jab. And as he was coming forward, he was either getting underneath it or he was slipping it. So that's all timing, right? Because he's not going to be faster. So everything has to be based off of anticipation and seeing how it's coming out, and picking up on the mannerisms and just the little intricacies of how that punch is being thrown and the delivery of it, and looking at the shoulder, seeing the foot, see him step in with the foot before, as he's stepping in. You make, you try to get ahead of it, just like a hitter would have to get ahead of that fastball pitcher. He'd have to start his swing a little bit quicker or ahead of the release of the pitcher. So Ryder, another great attribute of him is his timing. He's a smart fighter. There's not a lot of bells and whistles with Ryder. He's that type of
very
fighter
basic fighter. I mean, he doesn't. I mean, listen, man, I've seen him twice in big fights. I saw him against the Callum Smith fight, and I saw him, against obviously with Danny Jacobs. I thought he lost both fights, and I thought he lost them by a mile.
Yes.
I mean, I gave, listen, there was a lot of rounds in between that 7 and 11 round. There was a few rounds that I said, we could go Jacobs this round, but, he's got the momentum. I gave it to Ryder. That fight, realistically, 116, 112, 115, 113. But I can't make a case for Ryder winning that fight.
Well, here's the interesting thing. Robert and I had the same identical scorecard because we were texting after the fight.
Yeah.
I think I scored the fight identically to you. I gave Jacobs the first 6 and I gave him the 12th.
Yeah.
Robert gave Jacobs 9 and 10, but he gave Ryder 1 and 6. So I'm saying to myself, what if I gave Ryder 1 and 6 like Robert did, and Robert gave 9 and 10 to Ryder? Then 115, 113 is not impossible. One thing that kind of jumped out at me, though, on the judges' scorecards is they had the first, I think 2 of the judges had it 3-3 in the first 6.
How is that possible?
Yeah,
I was looking for the card. I was looking for the judges' card. I didn't actually get a chance to view them or whatever. I don't understand. First 6 rounds, I can give you the first round for Ryder. I don't agree with it, but I can give it to you.
Round 6, I thought was a tight round too.
I didn't think round 6 was that tight.
Okay, I didn't think round 1 was that tight, but Gabe Rosado scored round 1 even, right? And one thing, Gabe Rosado, I love Gabe Rosado.
Such a cop out.
I love Gabe Rosado to death, but one thing that he said after the fight, I was like, oh, what the fuck? Please, not another one of these stupid fucking unwritten rules. Excuse my French. He goes, Conor Ben was saying, oh yeah, a close fight. Ryder deserves it. And then Gabe Rosado goes, that fight was a robbery. He goes, and then after a while, he goes, yeah, it was a close fight, but Jacobs was a 2-time world champion. So the close rounds I'm going to give to him because he was a 2-time world champion.
That makes no sense.
What the fuck does that have? Score the rounds as you see them. Enough with the give this shit to the champion. Right. Give this to the guy who has the prettiest fucking robe walking into the ring. No, none of these fucking
0 sense.
None of these things matter when you're scoring a fight. You just score the rounds as you see them, as you see fit. And I also want to say, put a disclaimer out there. The views and opinions of Eric Lorda, who titled this show, we do not share them here at the staff of Ringside Reporter and Beeb Industries.
You don't think he was robbed?
No, I could see.
Could you make a case for Ryder winning that fight?
I could see myself giving Ryder the 6th, and then I would have had it a draw. Could someone have given him the first? Maybe.
But again, could you? I can make a case. I can even make a case for a draw. Okay. But again, I cannot make a case for him winning that fight. Sure enough, 7-5.
For me, it's a tough one. And I did say that to Robert. I said, well, I could see possibly a draw, but I'm not sure if I could give this to Ryder. But, if I gave him 1 and 6 like Robert did, and Robert gave Ryder 9 and 10 like I did, then we would have had 115 and 113 scorecards. So that's the thing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I thought Jacobs did enough to win. That being said, Danny Jacobs a couple years ago would have walked right through Ryder.
Yeah.
With absolutely 0 problems. This is not the Danny Jacobs that, we saw fight Canelo. This is not the Danny Jacobs of old here. This is a Warren Daniel Jacobs here. He's not, And where does he go from here? Let's talk about Jacobs first before we can talk about Ryder. But, where does Jacobs go from here? Honestly, I mean, he's fought everybody out there. He's gotten a shot. He's been champ. He's fought everybody out there. Realistically, I don't know where he goes. I really don't.
Here's my problem with Jacobs. And I mentioned it earlier. I think maybe his punch resistance is starting to go down a little bit because Gabe hurt him and turned the fight, and Callum Smith hurt him and turned the fight. And his legs kind of went in the second half in both fights. I remember when I scored the Gabe Rosado fight, which was his prior fight to this, I gave Gabe 5 of the last 7 rounds. And in this fight, I gave Ryder 5 of the last 6, right? So that has to do with something's going on. Either it's I think it's punch resistance, because as soon as he gets hurt, his legs start to go a little bit, and he just doesn't recover. So that's like the first thing. They say the first thing to go is a fighter's legs, but technically the first thing to go is the punch resistance, because after a while your body just starts breaking down after getting hit so many times, right? And it's harder to recover, right? As you get older, just like anything else. You go to the gym now, and you well, not me, but the average 52-year-old goes to the gym now, and it takes them longer to recover than it normally did before, right? Sure. You wake up, a lot of times people wake up sore. Same thing. You're getting hit with punches, and these punches may not have hurt as much back when you were younger, but now they're starting to hurt more. Yeah. Right. So that's part of the problem. And Jacobs is 35 years old. He's not getting any younger. But here's the thing, this was a good fight. And he could come back and get another big fight. The thing is will he go back and fight PBC guys? Who else could he fight over in the UK? Will he move up to 175? Who knows?
For what? But you know what I mean? Like,
this was not a bad loss, and a lot of people thought he won the fight. So
a majority of people, I can't find anybody who thought Ryder won the fight.
Yeah.
Did anybody score the fight for Ryder? You know what I mean? I can't find anybody that scored the fight for Ryder.
I'll do a poll right now and see if anyone. I'll put a poll in the chat. See what they say, But
yeah, I mean, like I said, I can't find anybody who thought Ryder won the fight. And Team Batman says maybe a rematch. I mean, for what? I mean, where does Ryder go next?
Well,
he's the mandatory for Canelo now, I think. He's not getting that fight.
Yeah.
There ain't no way possible he's getting that fight.
Well, if Canelo moves up,
you might as well call me the mandatory for Canelo, because I ain't getting that fight either. You know what I mean? He's not getting that fight.
If Canelo moves up to 175 and fights Bivol, yeah, because then he'll probably come right back down to 168 and fight Golovkin. So
yeah, he's not going to stay. He's not going to stay at 165 or 175.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think: is anyone going to strip him, or will there be any interim fights, interim titles, or I don't know. It was a good enough fight where I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch. I mean, I wouldn't hate a rematch.
I don't know. I don't think it's necessary. I mean, for what? I mean, where do you have the rematch at? Do you have it back in London? You know what I mean? Or back in the UK?
And here's the ironic thing. The UK judge scored it for Jacobs, and the American judge scored it for Ryder. So how crazy is that?
Who was the American judge? Do you know who the American judge was?
No, I'd have to go back and look. Yeah.
Was that CJ Ross or?
I don't know.
Adelaide Bird. Which one was it?
Yeah.
Alexander Wilson, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it. He said, was it me or did it look like Danny didn't have any snap on his punches? His punches didn't look like what they were against Mora and Quillen. Well, again, I mean, that was years ago against Mora and Quillen. That being said, his punches, no, they didn't have the same snap on it, but he was winning that fight.
Well, again,
I don't think he was hurting Ryder.
His punches had snap before he got hurt. But when your legs go on you, that's your punching power comes from your legs.
Yeah.
So, you lose a lot of your explosiveness if your legs are not sturdy, right?
Yeah.
And you haven't recovered after you got hurt. So,
but like I say, we've seen John Ryder twice now. Like I said, I thought he lost both fights. I thought he lost it wide to Callum Smith. I thought he lost this one.
yeah, I thought he beat Callum Smith.
He's 33 years old. Realistically, he's probably got a couple more fights left. I'll be honest, man. I mean, because he's not an upper echelon type of fighter. He runs into like anybody with any kind of class, any kind of the upper echelon, like a Canelo or anybody, he's going to get destroyed. That's not even going to be a fight.
I think he's a tough out. I think he's a tough out for anyone because of his
I don't think he's a tough out at all for Canelo. Canelo's a big, strong guy, and I know Ryder is too, but Canelo, I mean, you got to think, man. Canelo can box.
You favor Canelo over him, but
sure.
I don't think it'd be an easy fight for Canelo, to be honest.
I think it would be 6 rounds. That's a 6-round fight, man. You know why? Because he gets hit a lot. Ryder gets hit a lot. He doesn't work on that defense. He gets hit.
High guard though, and I don't think he gets hit, flush with everything. And I think he takes a good shot. I don't know. Canelo definitely. I think I would pick Canelo to win. I don't think it'd be an easy fight. I thought the Caleb Plant fight was competitive before Plant got stopped too. I think I had that fight even before Canelo stopped.
I think I did too. I don't know if we had. I don't know that we had Plant winning, but I think we definitely had it close.
Fight even.
It was very close. But Plant's a good fighter. I think
Jacob's fight with Canelo was very close too. I want to say I scored that fight a draw.
No, I definitely had Canelo winning that fight.
All 3 judges scored at 115 and 113 for Canelo, so they had it 7-5.
Yeah, I definitely had Canelo winning that fight.
Most people
and I know
did,
it was a closer fight, but it was a decisive win.
Yeah, most people agree with you. Yeah.
To me, it's kind of like this fight here. Like it was a decisive. To me, it was a decisive win.
Yeah.
It was a close fight, but it was definitely a decisive win.
I think Ryder's a solid fighter, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think he's that good. I just don't. I mean,
yeah.
I don't.
Opinions vary. Opinions vary.
Yeah, my opinion's always right though. It's weird. I don't know how. I don't know why. It's just one of those things.
Views and opinions of Eric Lauder, not represent Ringside Reporter or Beeb Industries.
All right, let's go to the phones here real quick. 718 New York 718. You're live.
Okay, hello. How you doing? This is Suleiman. How you doing?
Suleiman, how are you?
Hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah. So starting with the WNBA, right? All this stuff that's going on with the WNBA started with Floyd. Floyd's the one that started all this because when Floyd was a super champion at welterweight, they may keep him in the regular champion, and he was doing all the mandatories, right? So taking that to this fight right now, Ryder and Jacob fought for this belt for the number 1 ranking to fight Canelo. Now they're giving them a song and dance. They know that they're the mandatories for David Morrell Jr. So David Morrell is going to fight the number one contender. I don't know his name offhand, but it's another guy that he has a fight set up. So the winner of that fight is the one that Ryder's supposed to fight. Okay. So that's the story of the WBA. The winner of this fight with Jacobs and Ryder, they're not the mandatory for the super champion. The super champion does not do mandatory. Okay, so this is the situation with the WBA. The mandatory is always for the regular champion until they square away the problem with the regular title, and they unify it with the super title. That's how it's gonna be. That's what they were saying after the fight and all the other shows that I saw and everything in the other news channels. Now this fight here, it's a matter of opinion. I think Ryder did an excellent fight. I think in my opinion, I take Ryder to win the fight because what I saw was with Jacob. Jacob, he's been through a lot of wars, man. Dazin and Matchroom, when he left the PBC, he left the safety cushion that he had with PBC. So they put him through the gauntlet. Hearn put him through the gauntlet. He fought a lot of top quality fighters. He beat Luis Arias, which was undefeated at the time. He's the one that came in the first L. He fought this guy that was getting a lot of hype. I forgot his name, but he's a bullheaded guy. And Solisky or something like that. That guy was
Oh,
getting a lot of
Sulecki.
hype, and
Sulecki,
he
yeah.
beat him.
Sulecki.
Okay, yeah, that guy was getting hype. Then they put it with Devinchenko. They put it with Devinchenko for the IBF belt. If I was him, I would have started on that belt. But no, he went and then he put him with Canelo. I mean, he fought also Triple G. I think all those wars that he's been through, because he's been through wars, man. They have affected him in many ways. One, his punch resistance is not there. He knows that. That's why he's boxing more. He's moving more, and also his punching power has decreased. This guy was the type of guy that he could stop you in 6 rounds. He had a lot of power. He's not staying on his punches, one, and his punching power is diminished with age, because when he fought Devinchenko, he was killing Devinchenko with everything but the kitchen sink in the first round, in the first early rounds, the first half of the fight. And Devinchenko has a hell of a chin, didn't go down, and then he started boxing, and that's when people started talking baloney about him. And before the other guy, the one that's Leslie guy, he was supposed to stop that guy at 6 rounds. That guy has a hell of a chin, and that's what happens when you get to this level. Floyd figured that out. Danny has not figured out that yet. Danny got to sit down and got his boxing move. Don't try to put the weight guys away in the early rounds, because that's what he was trying to do. He was loading up on this guy. He was trying to hurt this guy. This guy has a hell of a chin. They call him the gorilla, and this guy was tiring him out. This guy is built like a pentagon, and that's what the people were watching. That's what the people were watching over there. That's what probably impressed the United States judge, because the guy came in well good condition, man. Those are factors that the judges see too. I mean, I understand that they're looking at the boxing, the points, and all, but that's affected his judgment, because the guy came in fantastic shape. You have to see this guy. This guy was ripped when he was on the weigh-in. He looked fantastic, man. He looked in better condition than Jacob. He went in there. He must have been a gym rat. This guy must have been a gym rat. And then his punches. If you look at the fight, his punches. He was fighting orthodox southpaw style, but with a power forward orthodox style. He was hurting Jacobs when he was throwing the left hand. If Jacobs would have slipped in any way, got caught slacking, he would have got knocked out. The guy was in fantastic shape. I saw the fight 2 or 3 times. I'm saying the guy, he has a future. The problem is that now he got to fight Morel, and his age is there. So and also Canelo's not going to give him a fight because he's not marketable. Canelo's looking for big money fights. So
yeah, he's not going to fight him.
He might become a champion. He might become a champion because these guys are going to vacate that belt. They're not going to. When he gets ranked number 1, he might beat Morel because Morel doesn't have the pro experience yet. He might take him to the later rounds because he could take his punch and take him to the later rounds and beat him. And if it's the other guy, I don't know about that guy much, but if this guy could wear you out, he could win the fight, man.
David Morrell's really good, though.
That's the only way. Let me tell you what. That's the only way Ryder is going to get a belt is if it's vacated and he fights some other guy ranked number 10 to win this title.
It's gonna happen because when Canelo beats Bivol, I don't think Canelo's gonna come down to that weight. But Canelo's trying to get out of the way. He already did everything at 168. He's gonna, once he gets, they told him, look, you gotta. First of all, they're not gonna mandate it. They're not gonna mandate unless there's no more number 1 contenders for the WBA. So in order for us to fight the regular champion, they gotta eliminate all the number 1 contenders, and then they put him. Then he has an option to fight for the super title. It's not like that. That fight's not gonna happen, and he's not marketable. So he might become a champion. Like he might get like a Morora. He might get elevated because when he vacated the WBA belt, they elevated Morora. So that's the only way he could become a champion, like you said.
Yep.
Another thing is, you guys mentioned the rematch. I think the rematch is not that bad. It's good for both of them because one, it'll give some time for this guy to work out more and develop a game plan to fight this guy. And a rematch for Ryder was when I heard him either. Because if Morel takes too long, or they might come out, hurt in that fight, like a cut or something that will affect the fight. But if he wants a fight with Jacobs, a rematch, it would be nice. Or Gabe Rosado. Gabe Rosado was flapping the gums too much. I want to see Ryder against Gabe Rosado. Gabe Rosado didn't look bad in that loss with Mangia. He didn't, he looked kind of sturdy, and he was throwing those flashy punches. Maybe that's the good marketable fight. You know what I'm saying? But the guy has a lot of potential. He's got to be a little patient. and I think he'd be elevated to champion, or because he was an interim champion at that weight. That's his true weight class too. Jacob's been flipping around from 160, 175, 168. That's his true weight class. So that's something we got to look at too. You know, he was a 160 at one time, but moved up to 168. He's been there for a while. So that's his true weight class. And wasn't you impressed by his body? That guy was in awesome shape, man. How about you, Habib? Were you impressed?
Yeah, I thought I was
shape?
impressed. I was impressed. Yes.
There you go. All right, Suleiman, we're going to get running,
because
man.
that
Thank you
guy
so
takes
much for the
everything.
call. We appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. D-Style says, good luck to the Bengals. I hope they win. D-Style, thank you so much. We're going to need it, that's for sure. It's going to be a big game today. 530. Robert, you're live.
Hi, Robbie.
Hello, guys. What a fight yesterday. And you know what? Joe, I've got to agree with you on Gabe Rosado. He was flapping his gums after the fight, talking about, well, he's a two-time champion. That's garbage. And Rosado even said that he wanted to fight Ryder. You know what?
Did you say you agreed with
make
Beeb?
that fight because
It's like when you
I agree
it's
with
like
Shock.
Yep.
it's like when you go to Dunkin' Donuts, right? And you tell everyone, yeah, I'm a 3-time tic-tac-toe champion. I should get half price off my donut. They don't care about that.
Yeah.
They don't care about that. They make you pay full price, don't they?
Absolutely.
There you go.
You know,
It's a
but,
shocker he
no,
agrees with you, Beeb. He never does that. That's weird.
no, hey, Eric, there are times I agree with you, but today I agree with Steve. But
what the
no,
brains of the operation is.
I want to see Ryder fight Gabe Rosado and take the microphone out of Gabe Rosado's hands, and don't ever allow him to score a fight. That's ridiculous. He had a ridiculous score.
What do you have? What was the score he had?
He had it.
Well,
He had it 9-3. He had it 9-3 for Jacob.
I don't really hate that. I mean, I
Well,
don't hate
here's the
that.
thing, though, Eric. He gave
him 9 and 10, right?
No, he gave him 11. He gave him round 11, and that was like one of Ryder's best rounds.
Yeah, I thought so too.
That was Ryder's round.
How do you give Jacob's round 11?
No, you don't do that. And look, round 1 was a swing round, but he scored it even. I didn't score it even. I don't score fights even.
You gave round 6 to Ryder too, right, Robert? You gave round 6 to Ryder?
That is correct.
You gave him round 1 too, right, Robert? You said?
Yes.
So I mean,
yep.
I don't know. I could see myself giving Ryder the 6th.
But listen, you guys both had Jacobs winning the fight.
We both had Jacobs winning the fight.
Yeah,
all three of us had Jacobs winning the fight.
Correct.
I haven't found one person except those 2 judges that gave Jacobs a fight.
But
not one.
I get, I hate to belabor the point, but
then don't belabor it.
Robert, you and I had identical scorecards, but Robert and I, we got there in different ways. So,
well, I mean,
that's correct.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, really,
Now, here's the thing I don't understand. Joe, you said one of the judges after 6 rounds had it 3-3.
I think 2 of them did.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, they had it even after 6.
How in the world they had it even after 6 rounds? I don't know how in the world you can give Jacobs 3 of those 6 rounds, or not Jacobs, excuse me, Ryder 3 of those 6 rounds. I don't even know that that's even possible.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Was it a robbery, Robert? Yeah. Was it a robbery?
No, I could have. The only thing I could have given Ryder was a draw.
Could you make a case for Ryder winning?
No.
Then it's a robbery.
No.
Not on. Am I wrong here? Am I wrong here? If you can't make a case, if you can't make a case for Ryder winning the fight, it's a robbery.
The views and opinions of Eric Lauder
Eric, I think you
are not shared by the staff here at Ringside Reporter.
Hey, Eric, I think you visited Rikers and you've been drinking Georgie's Kool-Aid, okay?
I'm telling you, you had the fight score for Jacobs?
Yeah.
Could you make a
115,
case?
113,
Could you
Jacob.
make a case that Ryder won that fight?
No.
G Funky had Ryder winning the
No.
fight.
All right, I trust G Funky. I don't care. It's still a robbery.
But no. And as far as what Jacobs is going to do next, I really don't know. I've been trying to think ever since the fight ended who he should fight. You know, and I totally forgot about David Morrell. David Morrell is in that weight class, and he is a very good fighter. But my problem with Morrell, they gave him a title after what, 4 or 5 fights. I hate people getting handed things early.
No, I mean, he did win the title, didn't he?
Yeah.
He had to fight for it. I mean, it's not like they just passed it over to him like I got the belts on eBay. I got those. I didn't have to fight for them.
It's like, I don't know, but I want to see if Morrell is as good as Steve and others say that he is. I want to see him against somebody who can prove that. So far, the fights I've seen with him, he's been better than his competition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one judge gave Ryder 3, 4, and 6. I mean, I don't have a problem.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with 6. 5 was kind of close too, but
No,
I
I
didn't give it. Another judge had Ryder winning 2 of the first 6.
Do you guys? Let me ask you a question. Do you guys think a rematch is in the cards here? Because if I was Ryder, I'd say no, because I'm now the mandatory. So I could care less what Danny Jacobs does. Unless we're going to fight for a belt, I don't care.
But Eric, if you're John Ryder, you know you're not going to get the Canelo fight. You got to fight somebody.
Well, I mean,
it all depends on if they can get Ryder a fight. You know what I mean? What if
is Canelo the super champion
in
in the WBA?
No, he's the normal champion.
All right. Well, who's the regular champion?
He's the super champion, and he's not the regular champion.
Then Ryder wouldn't fight Canelo anyway. Would he?
So
he'll. But he would fight like the regular champion. We don't know if the WBA is trying to get. The WBA said they're trying to get rid of those titles, so we don't.
They're not getting rid of them.
Who knows what they're going to do?
I got like 6 WBA titles.
But if you're Eddie Hearn, because I'm sure that Ryder is an Eddie Hearn client. If you're Eddie Hearn and you know he's not going to get the Canelo fight, do you try to set up a rematch or do you try to get him somebody else?
No, he may just go ahead and wait. Wait for some kind of title shot there. I mean, we know Canelo's not getting it. He's number 1 guy. Maybe he takes some stay busy fights like he did after the Callum Smith loss. But I don't know.
Well, do you, if you're Eddie Hearn, do you try to get him maybe to come stateside and fight Dave Morrell?
You got to get him something. I mean, whatever, you got to give him something, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, man, I don't think Ryder's that good anyway, so I don't know where you put this guy. My problem with this is I don't think either fighter after yesterday's performance is going to have they're going to have difficult times, both of them getting fights. I don't know where Ryder goes, and I don't know where Jacobs goes.
Look at this poll. 41 said Jacobs won, 36 said Ryder won, and 23 had it a draw.
Who cares about that poll? D-Style just put his own poll in there saying who's going to win, the Rams or the Bengals today. 2 is sweeping everything, son. Look at that. Bengals, son. That's it. Who cares about the Ryder fight? Nobody cares about it. He's not going anywhere anyway, and neither is Jacobs, all right? What we're focused on today are the Bengals, the Superbowl, son. That's what I'm talking about.
That doesn't start till 6:30, Eric. So
yeah, well, we started early over here in Titletown, baby. That's where we did. How about that? All right, Robert, we're gonna get moving here. Stay on the line. Stay on the line.
I will.
All right.
Thank you, Robert.
Beeve all cordial today. Beeve's minding his P's and Q's today. I like it. I like it.
Be nice to him today. I'm starting to feel a little bad that I give him a hard time.
Hey, you give him a hard time all the time, man. What's the matter with you?
Who knows how I'm going to feel next week, though.
Changes from day to day.
Can't guarantee it.
That was it for the action this weekend. It was a good fight, though. It was a really entertaining. I thought it was an entertaining fight. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot, man. And it was one of those things where I'm watching. I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be any good or not, but I thought it was a very entertaining fight.
It over exceeded my expectations, and
sure.
I was happy that Ryder came back like that. Showed a lot of grit.
Yeah, it was like I said, man. It was a good fight all the way around. It was. I mean, may not like the outcome, but who cares, man? It was good. It was real good. All right. Let's see here. It is the 13th. What is February 18th? I believe that's a Friday. Jaime Ortiz. This is on Showtime in Orlando, Florida on Friday. Jaime Ortiz versus Nahir Albright, 10 rounds lightweights. Joseph George versus Sean Hemphill, 8 rounds super middleweights. This has got to be a showbox card. And I tell you what, those have been the drizzling you-know-what the past couple times, man. They have not been good. They have not been good. On February 19th, on DAZN, Jaime Mangia versus Demetrius Ballard, 12 rounds middleweights. I always like to see Jaime Mangia is always one of those fighters, man, who I like him. You know what I mean? He's action. He's a flawed fighter. He's getting better. You can see he's getting better. He's making adjustments, but he's a flawed fighter and he's an offensive fighter, and he just always makes for a really exciting type of fight. Let's see here. February 19th from Russia, Jorge Linares is fighting. Yeah, go figure that one out. Jorge Linares is fighting in a WBC lightweight eliminator against Zaur Abdullayev. So no TV on it or anything like that, but that's coming from Russia. Kind of wonder if that fight comes off, man. Especially in Russia with everything going on over there. They're about to go into the Ukraine or whatever they're doing over there, man.
A lot of crazy stuff going on.
Yeah, right? They're about to break out missiles in a few minutes, you know. February 19th, the big one next week is going to be on ESPN Plus. Thank God it's not pay-per-view or anything stupid. It's pay-per-view in the UK, though, right, Beeb?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. Amir Khan versus Kell Brook, 10 rounds welterweights. The co-main is Natasha Jonas versus Iwa Pitikowska, 10 rounds for the vacant WBO junior middleweight title. Okay.
Wow. Jonas is fighting for junior middleweight title. Jesus.
Yeah, can't wait till I watch that one. Vidal Riley is on that undercard, 4 rounds cruiserweights against the dreaded TBA. Let's talk about this Kell Brook fight real quick, man. This is one of those fights that's like a train wreck. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a real big desire to see it, but it's on. I'll watch it. And it could be action-packed. I mean, this could be a good fight because both these guys are well past their purchase date. You know, they're way past it. Neither one of these guys should probably even be fighting. So it kind of makes it's like, I wonder what each guy's got left. You know what I mean?
Very interesting fight.
Who's Khan's trainer now?
Bomac.
That's right. That's who it was. That's who it was. That's an odd choice, no? You think that's an odd choice for him?
You know what's funny? Kell Brook was ranked. He was ragging on him, and he goes, yeah, you're being trained by Terrence Crawford's trainer, and Terrence Crawford's helping you out, and he's giving you pointers. So you're getting pointers from the guy that beat the shit out of you, and now you're taking pointers from him.
Here's what you could do to not get knocked out. You know what I mean?
It's just funny the way he put that, but
yeah.
You know, Khan has run through the gauntlet of trainers.
Yeah.
I don't know if Bomac is gonna at this stage of his career. He is who he is, so who knows? You know,
I don't think it makes a difference who he's.
The type of impact this is going to have at all, if at any, which I don't think it will have that much of an impact either. I agree with you.
God, so who wins this fight, man?
I like Brook.
See, I like Khan.
You like Khan, huh? I
like Khan because of his speed, you know, and he's still going to be fast. He's not going to be as fast, but he'll still be fast. And listen, I hope Brook wins. I do hope Brook wins. No question about that. But like, I don't know, man. I think that Khan's speed is going to be the difference here. I just got that feeling because Brook doesn't look the same. I mean, neither one of them are the same guy, but Brook looks a little bit more worn.
Think he's more worn?
I think so. He's been through some big fights, man. He's been through some big fights.
The problem I have with Khan is he always makes that one big mistake. A lot of times because his hands are so fast.
Yeah.
They're faster than his feet because he leans over so much. Like his hands go over his front feet. You know what I mean? They extend over his knees and his front foot. A lot of times he overextends and he's off balance. And those are the times when he tries to recoil, he always gets countered and he gets hit with something big, you know? He just makes that mistake all the time in a fight, that one big mistake. And Brook is a pretty precise puncher. You know, he's got a great jab and he has excellent balance. He may not be as quick as Khan, but you can argue he probably has a little bit more power. He's bigger, stronger. It's an interesting fight. Definitely.
I think that, like I said, I think Khan wins, but I really hope Brook wins. I don't like Khan. There's something about it. I don't like Khan. Yeah. I don't really care for him, man. I just don't, you know. Team Batman brought up a good point too. He says he thinks that Brook stops Khan. 36 minutes is a lot to not get hit on the chin, man. And he's right. I mean, he's right.
I like Brook.
And Khan did quit against Crawford. Wasn't that his last fight? Was against Crawford? Was that his last fight?
I think so, yeah.
And he quit. He quit that fight.
He
quit that fight.
Chose to not continue. Yep.
Yeah, he quit that fight, right? He quit that fight. I mean, listen, man. So when the going gets tough, you got to wonder, like, does he?
You don't kick people when they're down over here.
Where he's not down. He's up, man. He's got a big fight coming up.
Okay. Well, he was down at one point.
When you called him a quitter, right? You called him a quitter on this show, on these airwaves. You called him a quitter.
I don't use the Q word.
The Q word, like QAnon.
I don't like the Q word.
There you go. All right. So luckily that's going to be on ESPN Plus, because if it was on pay, I don't think anybody would see it. Now, again, it'd be on pay in Britain or whatever. But is this really that? I guess the tickets sold out for this fight and everything, right? I mean, this is a big fight over there. Like, even though these guys are like way past, I mean, it's odd to me. It's just odd.
Yeah. Again, you still got the storyline. These guys are still well known in the UK, right? So I'm curious to see how well it does on pay-per-view or in the UK. I don't know. I think there'll be some buzz for it, and there is some buzz for it over in the UK. But
yeah, it's just
I'm a little bit intrigued by it, to be honest.
Amir Khan, the only reason he took this fight is because he thinks Kell Brook is shot. It's the only reason he took this fight, because he knows he couldn't beat Kell Brook in his prime.
Well, they both think each other. They both think the other guy's shot, right?
Yeah, I guess they do. They
could justify that on both sides, each of them.
Team Batman said it was sold out super fast. You know, he said they're Crawford and Porter's age still. Lennox was the best, said they're Crawford and Porter's age. Yeah, that may be, but they've got a lot of miles on them. Both of these guys have been through some pretty big fights. Kell Brook, to me, he's been in with some hammers, man.
Well, Kell Brook, broke his face, both sides.
Twice. It's been a Triple G, Errol Spence, who was the other? Bud Crawford. I mean, listen, man. Sean Porter. I mean, he's been in there with the big guns, man.
It's one thing breaking your orbital bone on one side of your face. But what luck do you have to break it on both sides?
That guy probably shouldn't even be fighting right now. You know what I mean? Like,
I thought I was bad when I blew out both my knees. This guy blew up both sides of his face.
Well, I remember you crying when you got that paper cut, man. You were just like, you were out of commission for like a week.
That scar right there, see?
That was deep. That was not normal. That was not a normal paper cut, by the way. That was like construction paper or something like that. That wasn't like just bond. Yeah,
for sure. Go work with Scott here at Beeb Industries, but I
don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Against that.
But you toughed it out. That's what I like about you. You got heart. You know what I'm saying? There it is. All right. News and rumors here. This is a big one, Beeb. Your boy, Mike Coppinger, that's your ace in the hole right there, is reporting that Canelo is very close to signing a deal with Matchroom. The deal would be 2 fights for $85 million. The first fight would be against Dimitri Bivol, and the second fight would be against Triple G. Beeb, this has been disputed by, didn't Reynoso or somebody came out and said this was nonsense?
That this deal was nonsense? Well,
yeah.
Here's the thing. They haven't decided on anything yet.
Right.
But the way Coppinger words things, like, oh, close, likely to happen. And then when the people who are actually involved in it disagree with that and they dispute those claims and they contradict those claims, then Coppinger kind of looks like I'm not going to say. And even Dan Raphael called him out and saying, you're not supposed to, you shouldn't be using the words that you use. I mean, because again,
really, I didn't see that. Wow.
Reynoso,
so he came out and said that, huh?
Yeah, Reynoso's saying a different story. So when you got your peers calling you out, and here's the thing, Dan Raphael was never the most pleasant guy in the world. If you ever run into him at a fight, he's not the nicest guy in the world. Right?
Really?
Not the nicest guy on Twitter. He's got a way about him. You can take or leave him. If you like him, you like him. If you don't, you don't. I didn't like him as a person. I didn't like him as a person, but I always respected his work. When he was over at ESPN, he never would pump out all this information like Coppinger's doing. He never would say something or put something out unless he knew he was sure about it. Right? He never would.
It was always fact when he came out. From ESPN, you thought, wow, that's it.
And he was right 99.9% of the time when he put a story out because he took pride in his work. This other guy, Coppinger, he just wants to put shit out there. He just wants clicks. He just wants, and he knows that the things he's saying aren't 100% factual. But as long as as long as someone tells him what he wants to hear, he goes after like confirmation bias. He knows who's going to tell him what he wants to hear. But once again, being told what you want to hear doesn't make what you hear factual. So,
and you remember when we interviewed Dougie Fisher?
Yes.
And he kind of,
not in so many words,
but really alluded to it. Like this guy,
he used two adjectives with it. He used 2 adjectives called fast and loose, which ironically enough are the same 2 adjectives that Dan Raphael has used when describing Mike Coppinger's work.
That's right. Given quality said lies and propaganda. Yeah, basically. I mean, now,
in my opinion, I do think Canelo will take the deal, but I'm not confident in saying with 100% certainty that Canelo's taking the deal. Someone told me, our source told me that Charlo is not even is really not even in the running.
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is.
I don't know either.
But just because someone told me something doesn't mean I'm going to run with it.
Let me ask you, let's kind of stick with that narrative though for a minute here. Which fight do you like better? The Charlo fight or the Bivol fight?
Honestly, I like the Bivol fight better.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think Charlo.
I like the Charlo fight much better because I think that for a couple of reasons. Listen, I know Bivol is probably the tougher guy, but in terms of event status, in terms of the actual event, the build-up, everything like that, I got Charlo all day in that. Bivol's not, I mean, I don't know.
I again, whatever you like. I just don't think Charlo's as good as advertised. I've seen him struggle in fights, and I don't think he matches up well against Canelo. Just don't.
Yeah.
I think the Bivol fight is much more intriguing and much more competitive. I think Canelo.
I do too. For
easy.
Sure.
I think Canelo beats Charlo easy. With all due respect, I just don't think he matches up well against Canelo. Bivol would be a tough fight for Canelo.
Bivol's a very tough guy, and it's his boxing. You know, he's a very good boxer. It's not even so much his power as his boxing ability.
I mean,
But,
I've seen Charlo struggle against guys that he shouldn't have struggled against, you know?
But what do you like? Okay, so all right, you say Bivol, and we've seen him, but we've seen Canelo fight these guys. We've seen Canelo fight guys like the Callum Smiths and stuff like that, who are really good boxers, man. These guys are solid. I mean, Callum Smith, you can't take anything away from him. I thought that fight was going to be close. I even gave Callum Smith the edge in that fight, and he got massacred, son.
Yeah,
that fight wasn't even close.
Not easy.
What are we looking at here with Bivol that makes us think that it would be any different?
It's different.
Aside from the fact he's a heavier guy.
Different weight class. Bivol's a little bit more defensively responsible than Caleb Smith. I think Bivol is really, really crafty, and I think he's a little bit more technically sound than Caleb Smith, right? And he's the type of guy where he'll fight a very, very conservative, controlled fight, and he won't give Canelo much. So I think in that regard, Bivol would be a tougher egg to crack than obviously than Caleb Smith was.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. It's definitely a better fight than Charlo.
Yeah.
But in terms of event wise, to bring more eyes to the sport, Charlo is the fight for me anyway than Bivol is.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's like Robert Garcia was saying about Ryan Garcia. He said, it doesn't matter who he's fighting. He said he can fight anybody. It's Ryan Garcia. They're going to come to see him regardless. It's Canelo. They're going to come to see him regardless. So 85 million though, Beeb. 85 million. You're going to be able to put that together with these two fights?
The zone has the money. They'll be able. See, this whole thing with PBC, I question whether PBC has the money. I wouldn't question whether the zone would
No, the zone's huge company.
Because you have to look at PBC's schedule. They got the Errol Spence fight coming up with Ugas. They got the unification fight.
Yeah.
Are they going to even have any? Are they going to have enough money for Canelo? That's the thing.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. Because listen, if you're talking about $85 million, that's a big one. The other thing, man, is this. If he wins this, and a Triple G's got to take a fight in the interim or whatever. Whether he fights Murata or whatever, I don't know.
No, I don't like the Triple G fight.
I can't stand the Triple G.
You're going to go up to 175, and then you're going to go right back down to 168. Might as well fight the Joe Smith Better Beef winner and just do it for all the marbles.
Well, listen, man, for what though? Like, why would you, what unanswered questions do we really have from that Triple G fight? Listen, you can make the case, and I think we all made the case, Triple G won the first fight. I think that was hands down. The second one.
I thought he won the second one too, but
I thought the second one was a draw. But I couldn't, it was one of those things where I got him a draw, but I couldn't really make a case for him beating Canelo in that second fight. That was just me though.
Gotcha.
At this point, Triple G's way past his expiration date here. Canelo ices this guy. Canelo walks this guy, man. This isn't really competitive at this point.
Yeah, I don't see it being competitive either.
Oh, G Funky said he was on hold. I'm sorry, man. I didn't even see you on there. I apologize.
Call back in, G Funky. Call back in.
Yeah, if you want to call back in, you can.
Put you on right now. Sorry
about that, man. Yeah. Yeah, any guys like that, I wish they text or whatever, and then, we put them right on. But given quality, say Canelo won both Triple G fights in a different fashion. Yeah, I mean, but I just, like I said, man, I just think that that fight is, I don't know. But apparently a lot of people want to see it. I know DAZN wants that fight. I don't know why DAZN wants that fight.
I don't want it now. I'm not interested in it now.
No, I'm not either.
But who else can they offer him up over at DAZN? What other
John
fight
Ryder.
do they have?
John Ryder.
John Ryder, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, John Ryder. There you go.
They did want to bring Canelo to the UK though, so
I did hear this. JC said this, and I've heard this from Chakal. A lot of people in Mexico want that fight. that Triple G fight. Hey, wouldn't it be great if it took place in Mexico?
A lot of people want to see Canelo knock Triple G out because they don't like the fact that Triple G was talking a lot of shit about Canelo after he tested
Right.
positive.
Right. All right. Let me go to the phones here. 916. 916, you're live.
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen? It's G Funky.
G Funky, how's it going, man?
What's up, G?
It's going all right, man. I just wanted to call in and chime in on the fight last night. But you guys already read my comment. Like, I thought Ryder won the fight. But look, here's a problem I had with Jacobs, man. Is early on, I gave him 3 of the first 4 rounds. I felt like he was boxing very well, very smart. He was circling to his left, staying on the outside of the strong side of or the weak side of Ryder, picking him off with good right hands and boxing beautifully, man. I was like, man, this guy might be back. And then all of a sudden he switched to southpaw and the fight changed, in my opinion, And I feel like Ryder took over the second half of the fight. He hurt Jacobs a few times later in the fight. Jacobs, look, I give him a lot of credit, man. He was, fighting hard. He was trying really hard at the end, but I just feel like he looked like he was really out of gas. I said this earlier in the week that, I don't know if he's got it anymore, man. I feel like he's getting to that point where, he might not be the same fighter he used to be a few years ago. So that's the way that I saw it, man. I know you guys might see it a little bit different, but I did have some swing rounds, about 3 swing rounds, but, yeah, it was a tough one for Jacobs down the stretch, man.
Did you give him that first round? Did you give Ryder that first round?
I actually gave the first round to Jacobs. I felt it was really close. That's one of the rounds I had marked as close.
Okay.
I think Gabe Rosado had it as an even round.
He did,
I was watching it live. It was a close round, man.
I thought Jacobs won the round, but again, I didn't hate the fact that people had Ryder winning that first round. I thought it could have went either way. I thought you definitely can make a case for Ryder winning that first round.
So, G, did you give Ryder 5 and 6?
Yes, I did.
Okay. All right.
Well, you said like the 6th round. You said you were
when I went back and watched
6th round. Yeah.
I watched the fight again today. In the 5th, I gave to Jacobs, but I could see that I could see an argument being made. Maybe the 5th could have gone to Ryder. I don't know. The 5th and 6th rounds were kind of close.
How did you have that fight scored? What was your end score?
My final score was 116-112.
Okay.
For Ryder.
For Ryder, okay.
But like I said, I had 3 swing rounds, so if I give a couple to Jacobs there, it's an even fight or a 7-5. It wasn't the prettiest of fights. It was a little bit better than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, I just feel like that was a big mistake. Like, why go to the open stance with a guy who's natural southpaw? Like, it just didn't make sense to me.
I never understood that.
Jacob's trainer was telling him, like, look, man, you're giving away the fight,
I never understood if an orthodox fighter is fighting a southpaw, why he would switch to southpaw. I never got that.
Yeah.
I never did. That never made sense to me.
Yeah, I don't understand it myself. And I was calling the fight live, and I was saying that. I was like, this is a huge mistake on their part. And I feel like his corner should have told him, look, stay in the close stance with the guy. You're outboxing him. And he was doing the smart thing, staying on the outside of the lead hand, jabbing away, shooting good straight right hands. He was clearly winning this fight early on my card. And then he decided to switch it up, and it changed for me. The fight changed right then and there for me on my scorecard.
Yeah, it was go ahead.
So you gave Ryder rounds 5 through 11?
I gave him rounds 5 to 9. I gave round 10 to Jacobs. I almost gave him round 12 because he did fight really, really hard in there, but I just feel like he got hit with some really clean shots in the last minute or so of that round, and it was close up until that point. But he just looked like he was just out of it to me.
So you gave Ryder the 12.
Really tired. Yeah.
Okay.
Barely. I just barely gave him that
crazy
one.
I
pulled it off later in that round.
When I was watching the fight, I was like saying maybe I could give this to Ryder, but I thought Jacobs won the 12th.
it was a close one, man. Round 12 was a close one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just, I want to call in and, talk to you guys about how I seen the fight.
Well, it was good that you did
I
call
see
in.
a lot of people, I've get this on Twitter. They're saying 6 rounds, the first 6 rounds easy to Jacobs. I'm like, I did not see that.
No.
But I mean, I feel like he was definitely winning the majority of rounds in the first 6 rounds of the fight. But yeah, I got to take care of some things here, man. I just want to call in and chop it up with you guys. Eric, man, hey, good luck to your Bengals today, man. I'm rooting for the Rams. It's only because my father-in-law, may he rest in peace, was a big Rams fan. He was such a big Rams fan. On his tombstone, he's got the Rams logo on it. So in honor of him today, I'll be rooting for him.
Absolutely,
and his team.
man.
But other than that, honestly, I wouldn't care if it was any other team. But, I want to wish you good luck as well, man, because I know it's been a long time since the Bengals been in there, man. Icky shuffle, bro.
I know, right?
I remember that.
Oh, man. Well, I appreciate it, man. And good luck to the Rams today as well, man. It'll be a good game, hopefully.
See, now, one judge did give Ryder the 12th. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those fights, man, where a lot of rounds could have went either way, man.
The more it's crazy because my scorecard is what my scorecard was, but the more I think about it, the more ways I'm finding ways to give Ryder this fight.
He's gonna go rewatch it a couple times. He'll have the score completely reversed.
and I never do that. I never go back looking to give guys rounds, but I could see this fight going to Ryder. I don't think it's impossible that Ryder won this fight, to be honest with you. I just want to say the views and the opinions of Eric Porter are not shared by the staff here at Ringside Reporter.
They're the views are lowest, though. I'll tell you that.
Always got to bring her into it, huh?
So, all right, guys. Have a good day. Enjoy the game, and I'll be listening in, man. But thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it.
All right, G. Thanks so much, man. There we go. Awesome. All right, let's talk about this is interesting too. Okay, so Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, they were at the press conference. Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, of course, are going to fight here. Amanda Serrano at the press conference suggested that Katie Taylor that they go 3-minute rounds instead of 2-minute rounds. Taylor turned down the request. Beeb, what were your thoughts on this?
Couple things. First of all, back in 2017, when Taylor brought this up herself, requesting 3-minute rounds and suggesting that the women fight 3-minute rounds, her request was shot down by the WBC, who has said, we will never do 3-minute rounds for women. We will never do more than 10 2-minute rounds for women, because they had some statistic that if women fight longer, that they're going to get more concussions. And once again, in the amateurs,
don't fight. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but if that's the case, then don't fight. It's a contact sport, son.
Well, how do you? Let me explain my reasoning to question that theory. Because in the amateurs, they fought three 3-minute rounds. So they've never fought 12 3-minute rounds. So they've never done that. So what are you basing your data off of? That they come up with this data. Same thing when they cut rounds from 15 to 12. Did that really stop any fatalities or injuries? Has that made a difference? Because anything can happen in any round, correct? So first of all, that, not to go off on a tangent here and take a left turn, but that whole thing with Mauricio Suleiman, I don't know where he came up with that statistic. To me, it sounds like it was made up. That's right. Number one. So, and number two, it's kind of, to me, it was kind of a posturing type move. If you really wanted 3-minute rounds, then why didn't you say when you were negotiating for the fight? Why did you wait for the contracts to be signed, and now you're asking for the 3-minute rounds?
That was my thing. Okay, so to me, this was nothing more than like a publicity stunt, because look, if you were that concerned about the 3-minute rounds, this is all stuff that you don't sign the contract yet. We talk about this first. Hey, what do you think about 3-minute rounds? Can we get this sanctioned? Hey, what do you think about this? Yeah, let's do it. Let's really do this up. Let's go 12 rounds, 3 minutes, blah, blah, blah. That's something that's in the contract. You don't bring that up at a press conference, and then knowing she's going to turn it down or knowing that it can't happen.
I think Katie Taylor should have said to her, well, why didn't you ask that before we signed the contracts? You asked for everything else under the sun. Why didn't you ask for that?
That's what I would have said.
I would have threw it right back at her.
Yeah.
I would have threw it. And no offense, I don't dislike Amanda Serrano, but I don't know. She looks like she's a little scripted here. She looks like she's reading off the Jake Paul.
She's going to that Jake Paul school of promotion,
Yeah, reading off the Jake Paul playbook. Yeah. She looks a little nervous to me. And again, this may not even matter in the fight, but
it's her biggest fight.
Yeah, I mean, Katie Taylor's been here before.
Yeah.
She's kind of carried the mantle for women's boxing. And again, Serrano's up there too, but Katie Taylor, in my opinion, I think is the woman right now carrying the sport.
I'd like to see Katie Taylor win this fight.
I think Katie Taylor will win this fight, but
I think Amanda Serrano's going to win it, though.
Do you?
I really do. Yeah, I do. I think Serrano's going to win it. I probably won't watch the fight, but
you'll watch the fight.
You can tell me about it. You can tell me about it later.
The views and the opinions of Eric Ritter are not shared by the staff here at Ringside Reporter.
Because I don't want to watch a women's fight.
Or Beeb Industries.
I don't know, man. Saw the same thing on Brazzers. I don't know. What are we going to do?
Whoa.
All right. Ryan Garcia leaves Eddie Reynoso. Dropped his trainer, dropped Canelo's team and everything. Went to Joe Goosen. Beeb, any idea why he did this, and is it a good move?
Well, do we even know that he initiated the change, or did Eddie Reynoso just cut him loose?
Yeah, that's possible. That's possible.
I know I was watching a show from Ring IQ, and he said the same thing, and I agree with him. Who knows who initiated that change? But
that's a good point. I never even thought about that. But anyone else is going to get paid a lot of money with Ryan Garcia. Why would he he's getting paid a lot of money with Canelo too.
Yeah, I don't think Eddie Reynoso's hurting for cash. Let's just say that.
Right.
Yeah, he's got a lot of fighters under his stable. He's got a lot of he's got a couple champions. So I mean,
he's pretty good. Yeah, he's pretty good. So I guess he can kind of pick and choose. I mean, he's got enough money. I mean, I'm sure he's got enough money to live in Mexico for a long, long time, and he's got a lot, man. So I think he can kind of pick and choose who comes in there.
Yeah, he can pick and choose who's going to come through there, what he wants to do, But
does Reynoso still train in Mexico, or is he states like Canelo now?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know I don't know if he does both. I'm assuming he probably does.
I guess I would imagine because he's got fighters both. You know what I mean? Fighters in both places. So
I'm not even sure if he lives. I think he lives in Mexico. I think Canelo has residences obviously in both, and Canelo does spend a lot more time in the United States than he does in Mexico. So.
I can't imagine Reynoso's house, man. My God, it's got to be huge, right?
Oh yeah, Canelo's got a nice house too.
Oh, Canelo's house is ridiculous.
He got a house in California. Beautiful house.
Insane. So is this a good move for Garcia?
I'm up in the air with Garcia right now, to be honest with you. I think I can't really get behind the guy because I don't know what he's going to do. I don't trust him to go through with fights. I don't know if his heart's really in this. So I don't want to get too vested into a guy and get behind a guy like Garcia, because how many times has he cried wolf? How many fights has he pulled out of?
Yeah, that's a tough one, man.
So,
and he can claim depression and everything like that. I get you, man. And I understand it's a tough thing and everything like that. But pretty soon, man, listen, it's either going to be like you're going to fight and you're going to, you know what I mean? It's like you got to do something here aside from staying on social media. Chakal says there's more to come on the issue with Team Reynoso. Chakal, do you know, did they dump him over there or what happened?
I kind of think they did.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting, man.
Kind of think they told him go take a hike, man. Because again, they don't want people like that in the gym. If you're gonna be part,
you can't, right?
Yeah.
Can't have that kind of stuff in the gym, man. You just can't.
Just brings everyone else down.
Gooson's a good trainer. Listen, you can't go wrong with either guy.
No, I like Goosen.
I like Goosen a lot too. Now he's fighting. What is Tagbo? Is it? Who's
To go? His name is To Go.
To go.
Like To Go. Take
take out, like take away.
Out,
I got it to go. We're gonna get it to go here. You know.
I think it's April 9th. I believe it's April 9th.
Did you get that too, Beeb? Did you just get that text?
I did not. I'll check. I'll probably get it eventually.
Ryan's dad, JC saying Ryan's dad's claiming that Ryan wants to grow his brand. I don't know why he can't do that with Reynoso because Canelo's a pretty big star, but I don't know. What do I know?
Oh yeah, I just got it. Yeah.
You just got it? Yeah. That's interesting too. Wow.
Okay.
Oh, what's going on over there?
We will keep that one under wraps, Chakal. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
Because we do not want to burn a bridge with you.
Kambosos is reportedly, he's taking his time choosing a fight. He's reportedly stated that he's not interested in Devin Haney, and the fight they want to make is Ryan Garcia. Now, Lou DiBella came out. Now, Eddie Hearn came out and said, hey, let's, I've given you everything you possibly wanted, this and that, what gives here? Now, Lou DiBella came out and said that the price that, what they offered him was just nonsense, and they did a counter offer, and it was, the offer they gave him was just complete nonsense. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. Beeb, what do you think of Kambosos waiting? He's getting a lot of heat for waiting. He's getting a lot of heat for like pulling a Teofimo, but what are your thoughts on this?
What I think is going to happen is he's probably going to fight in July. Probably late July. I would say late July he'll fight. Early August at the latest, but probably he'll fight late July. So he'll be out of the ring for like 8 months.
Yeah, that's not crazy.
That's not crazy. It's just like Joshua supposedly when he rematches Usyk, they're targeting June, right? And when did he fight Usyk? In when did he fight him in October-ish?
Yeah.
He fought Usyk before Kambosos fought Teofimo. So he'll be out 8 months.
So Remy makes a good point here. Lou DiBella's fighter is Emmanuel Tago, who is fighting Ryan Garcia next. Okay. So it would make the most sense that Garcia fights this guy and then gets a shot at Kambosos.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
That's the way to go.
Because if he fights Tago in April and he beats Tago, which is at the beginning of April, he could take May and June. He could take May off.
Probably that fight takes place in July or August.
Yeah, it's going to take place in July or August. And if I'm Kambosos, it seems like it's the best move. So it's the least amount of risk.
Money.
So it's the least amount of risk for the greatest amount of reward.
And incidentally, I think Ryan Garcia beats Kambosos.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I mean, I think he, great shot at beating Kambosos, but I don't even have any reservation of picking Devin Haney or Lomachenko over Kambosos. I think those guys clearly beat Kambosos, right?
Clearly.
Now, when you look at a guy like Garcia, I don't know. He's a lot more vulnerable than those guys. I think those guys are better fighters than Ryan Garcia right now.
Yeah, I think so. And I tell you what, as I think about it, I think of that, was it the Luke Campbell fight with Garcia?
Yes.
Where Luke Campbell's a pretty tough guy, and he had trouble with that.
I would pick Kambosos over Garcia right now.
See, I would take Garcia, but it's not as cut and dry. I guess it's not as cut and dry as I think that's a great fight, though.
If you're Kambosos, and you have three choices: Garcia, Lomachenko, or Haney, who do you take? I'm taking Garcia.
I don't take Haney because I don't know how much money is there realistically. I don't take Haney. Lomachenko, I think you're going to get lowballed by Bob Arum. Garcia's the money guy. The other one I would probably put my head in is what about Tank? What about Tank Davis fighting him?
Very hard.
There'll be a tough fight, but he's not going to beat Tank, but is there more money? Who's going to garner more money? Him, either Tank Davis or Ryan Garcia? Which fight is worth more money?
it's easier to make the Garcia fight because they're both the zone fighters.
True.
And
They're already working with DeBella anyway, so
and I think maybe the Garcia fight may be a bigger fight financially than a Tank fight, possibly.
Well, and then you go off of look, I mean, it's Kambosos fighting in Australia in a big stadium. He could be fighting a dust mop. It doesn't matter who he's fighting, you know. I mean, they're going to come see him, you know.
Sure.
So, you know, it's just like Ryan Garcia fighting somebody, and they're going to go see him, or Canelo or whatever, you know. Yeah, it's that's what's going to happen. Errol Spence and Yordenis Ugas is set for April 16th in Jerry World, Texas Stadium on pay-per-view. This is a good fight. This is a pay-per-view. To me, this is a pay-per-view worthy fight. I like this fight. It's a unification.
I like the fight a lot, yeah.
This is a good fight. This is not, you know, and I think Ugas deserves this fight. After he beat Pacquiao like he did, it was pretty decisive. I thought he did a good job against Pacquiao. This right here, I do favor Spence to win this fight.
See, I favor Ugas.
Do you really? Wow.
I think Ugas beats him.
Wow. No, I think Spence gets him. But then you're always wondering about Spence. You know, he's just coming off a surgery. He's coming off a car accident, coming off a surgery. But, you know, after that car accident, there didn't seem to be any residual from that. I like Spence in this one. And then does that set up the Crawford fight or no?
I'm rooting for Ugas to win this fight so he can get a unification.
Because he'll fight Crawford. I think he'll fight Crawford.
But again, Ugas, I think, is a very difficult style for Spence because Spence doesn't have the quickest feet in the world, moves in straight lines. Ugas gives you that subtle movement, constantly turns you. You know, he does those little things to create openings. He's got that pesky style. Him and Consacao, they're the types of guys that get a lot out of doing a little. They'll sit there and poke and peck at you and try to get you to, you know, parry the shots, and they'll create those openings, and they'll sneak those shots in there after opening you up with those decoy throwaway type punches. So I think
that's perfect. Ugas, he gets a lot out of doing a little. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that one.
Yeah, he doesn't overexert himself. Doesn't try to hit a home run with every punch. He'll jab you, touch you, try to get a reaction, make you change your hand positioning, force you to reset, force you to shuffle your feet. You know, and I think that, you know, he's a very intelligent, crafty guy. Very intelligent, crafty guy. So
and he does basics very well, man. All those fighters are schooled, man. Those guys are schooled, man. So.
I love that type of style. I really do.
Yeah.
I love that crafty, tricky, cerebral style of boxing. I like it.
Yeah. It's going to be a chess match for sure, man. It's going to be a good fight. I like that fight. Have we heard anything about who's on the undercard of that fight yet? Anything on the undercard?
I'm hoping they throw something good together on the undercard, though.
Yeah, PBC usually does. PBC usually does on big pay-per-views, because this is going to be a Fox pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So they should put something together on there.
Yeah, I hope so.
Man, crazy news coming out of Cincinnati. Robert Easter was shot in Cincinnati this week. I tell you, we don't mess around here, son. It is what it is, boy. He's going to be okay. I believe, if I had to guess, my guess was they probably brought him to a university hospital or something like that.
Yeah.
But they said he's going to be okay. They had him up walking around this week and everything like that, and he's been tweeting out that he's going to be all right. Now, how this affects his boxing career going forward, I don't know. But he hasn't been in the ring in a while, so who knows? Yeah, but I tell you what, man, it's and I saw, you know, he was right by. It's funny, man, because I know exactly where the whole thing happened, and it happened downtown by like the casino, but it still happened like it was actually in front of the, like right around the Justice Center. We have the Justice Center, and then we have the casino right next to each other. So I mean, what could possibly go wrong there? You know. But I guess some guys approached him. I guess he had the chains on or whatever, and they said, "Hey, you know, give me the chains." And he started running, and they just shot him. Man, it's crazy.
I'm giving my shit up quick, man.
Yeah, you have to ask me twice.
There's no negotiation.
Yeah.
What else do you want?
Yeah, you know, take my wallet. This is my card. It's got X amount of dollars on it.
Here's the pin.
Explaining stuff to him. You know,
here's the pin number. Okay.
JC said, yeah, it was over a chain. It was over a chain, my man.
Here's the PIN number. Just leave me $3 for the coffee I can get tomorrow morning. That's it.
Yeah, he just took off running like the dude wasn't going to shoot him or something like that. Like, you playing? I mean, look where you are, son.
It's so sad, man. And Vernon Forrest was in a similar situation, and unfortunately, he lost his life over it, man. It's horrible.
Yeah, that's a rough part of town right there by the Justice Center. You know, that's a rough area right there. And then, you know, and I was thinking to myself, I wonder if he was coming from like the casino, because the casino's right there. You know what I mean? On that Sycamore block right there, the casino's right there. So I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if he was coming out of the casino. But then I'm thinking to myself, like, why would he be walking there? Like, why not just park in the casino? You know what I mean? Like, you could just park in the casino. You don't have to go downtown. You just drive in and just go in. That's it.
You're a little too familiar with all these rough spots, man. Let me find out you're gangbanging or something, man. You're slinging some
slinging rock.
Yeah, find out.
He said, somebody robs me, everything. Eric's he'll be like, here, everything is included in my browser's account. I ain't giving that up that easy, buddy. All right. More trouble with the law here. Jamal Charlo, arrested in Texas. According to court documents obtained by TMZ Sports, Charlo's arrest stems from an alleged September 21st, 2021 incident where he's accused of punching or grabbing a man. Officials in the dock say the man was injured in the alleged altercation. They also say the man was a member of Charlo's family or household. Charlo's attorney, of course, states that it was just an attempt to shake down Charlo. Isn't it funny how these two clowns always get into fights? They always get arrested, but it's never their fault. You know, and we talked about this. We talked about this last week. Because the other was it the other Charlo or was it the same Charlo?
Same Charlo.
Same Charlo, yeah. Same Charlo, you know, who gets everything dropped, right? He gets the case dropped because there wasn't enough evidence or whatever the case may be. And then this subsequently follows suit. What is it? I don't understand. Like, what is it that, you know, these guys just can't stay out of trouble?
I think it all has to do with that they just have bad tempers, man. You could see how volatile both of them are. Yeah. Even when they're being interviewed, one little question sets them off. Sometimes you think you think they're gonna hit the reporter. They get so mad, you know. Right. So,
JD Spade says Eric gives out that creepy uncle vibe. This coming from a grown man who calls himself JD Spades. Okay.
The views and opinions of Eric Lauder are not shared here by the staff at Ringside Reporter and Beav Industries.
You're going to see me giving out a thing for human resources. Hi, this is Eric Lorta. You know, it's like, I regret both of us who are going to apologize. It's always going to be me who's going to end up apologizing about something stupid that was said. You know, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Oh boy. All right, guys, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1. Find our YouTube channel at ringsidereporterlive.com. You can find me on Twitter at ringside73. And hey, who day, man? You got to root for the Bengals today, all right? All right, guys, we will catch you next week.